Welcome back. So bear with me. First two videos are a little bit longer than what I am expecting. I like to be hit the points and go in and out as quick. I know everyone are busy, so this is more like training tutorial. Also, I want everyone that don't have too much information, they understand the system. So if you're familiar a little bit about the system, you can jump on to the next session, next video. But if you're not, you want to understand what it is. Let me explain it to you in this video. Okay, as you can see, I'm on the HTTP Yak official website. And as you can see, as they are advertising themselves, HTTP Yak is a future-rich tool that gives you ability to run REST, SOAP, GraphQL, and gRPC calls to the backend using the CLI command line tools or VS Code extension. They are supporting multiple authentication protocols like Auth2 and Basic. In this videos series, we are targeting to using the REST and Auth2 and Basic authentication. If you had a problem with other protocols and you have problem, you can definitely go back and check out the HTTP Yak website. They have really great documentation here. Um, but if you have problem and you couldn't find the solution for it, please reach out to me. Uh, if I have time and I'm able to answer the question, I definitely will back to you as soon as possible in my free time. And if I have more requests, definitely we'll go and add more videos to this session, tutorial session about other protocols later. But why HTTP Yak is powerful? Because HTTP Yak using the HTTP files, which they are hosted on your file system. So what that means is, to me as a developer, that means I can save my files on my file system and I can utilize Git to version controlling those files. And what is that means to me? That means like if I have some project, some backend code, if I host both my HTTP files and my project in same repository, every time I'm calling every time I have any development on my backend code, I use my HTTP Yak files to do my test and calls. As soon as I'm committing my code change, my HTTP Yak documentation is synced with my current state of my code. So that's really valuable for me because usually you can see like you have HTTP Postman files or Swagger files. Swagger files is better, but like mostly like on some tools like Postman because they are fully detached from your source files, source application. They're not gonna match. So when you're calling your HTTP calls on the HTTP Yak, it may be hitting hitting a new endpoint which has different characteristics and it's going to have unexpected behavior. So this is one of the benefits I love to see. And when they introduce HTTP files, I switch to the HTTP file. It's free, and because they are supporting variables and JavaScript coding, it's give us developers ability to running more complex queries. And since they also providing a CLI command line tools, we can binding all these together to be a great complex end-to-end test framework for our backend APIs, and we can connect it to our CI/CD pipeline. That's I think for now is more than enough. So I don't want to make especially the newbies more confused about the system. And let's jump to the code so we can enjoy seeing what HTTP Yak could offer for us as developers, right? But before we are jumping on the code, wait, hold on. So as I mentioned, the HTTP Yak and HTTP files, they can host in our local machine, and we can use Git versioning to version controlling these files. I'm doing the same thing, exact same thing in these tutorials and every chapter, every video that we have. As soon as it's done, I will commit the code change to my personal GitHub repository. So it's going to be available for you guys, and you can check out the code and you can see This code every based on the state that we are in it. Okay, so the files for this tutorial is hosted on my GitHub repository on toot underline http underline yak dash yak, and I will share with you guys the link to the YouTube to my GitHub channel, and especially the repository that we are working on the YouTube, and you can access them. Okay, okay. And next thing is like we need to do some HTTP calls, REST calls, and we need some backend. Since we don't have backend for this tutorials, we are using the HTTP bin. This is the same source that HTTP Yak used for their trainings and their documentation. So we are going to use the same tool. I think it's a great tool for testing HTTP Yak. And basically any calls I have, if you don't understand how it's working, you can go back to the httpbin.org website to get the documentation on how you can, what it is. And if you want to do more advanced call, you're not sure if the HTTP Yak is going to support it or not, and you're not developed that functionality on your backend, you're more than welcome to go back to this page and figure out if they have that functionality available so you can use it to testing the HTTP Yak with this tool. And VS Code. Since we are using the Visual Studio Studio Code for our tutorial, and we are installing extension, I want to explain to you guys how we can installing it. Installing is super simple. You go into the extension. As you can see, I search for HTTP book. HTTP Yak has two extensions. One is the HTTP book, which is you can see in here how it's going to look like. Basically, this is the one that we are going to use in this training session, and it give you, I think, a little better visual look on the code. But they have other tools that is, I think, is more popular. I don't know why. If you like it, let me know why you like this one more. But yeah, but this is the other tool. It's doing the exact same thing. So, but yeah, for this training and this tutorial session, we are using the HTTP book. Okay. And as soon as you're installing it, you're good to go. You can close the application, close the extension. And as you can see, I already connected to the Git repository, and I'm in my first session, the first chapter, and I'm doing my first call. If I want to do these calls, as you can see, I create a new folder, chapter 1, and I'm going to create a new file and calling it demo. This is the important part. You need to name your file with the HTTP extension. As you can see, as soon as I finished HTTP, the Visual Studio Code, it detected as a HTTP file and changed the icon. When I'm saving it, HTTP book is kick launched and show I can see the HTTP Yak UI here, right? Okay, so as you see, this is a tools that we are using for our REST calls. Let's say I want to do the call. As you know, every REST call we have the method, which could be get, put, post, patch, update, delete. And then the address of the backend that I want to hit, as we discussed, we're going to use for this tutorial is http bin.org. And the first endpoint I want to hit is anything. Okay, as soon as I'm done with my document, I will testing it, right? I'm just running. As you can see, I hit the backend, and the backend returns me some data. That's pretty cool, right? The benefits of this tool is like I can save my file, I close the VS Code, going back, I have access to the same file, and I can run it multiple times. That's great, but that's something that is really simple. We are going to continue on next video, and we're going to continue going more in depth and doing more advanced trainings. And I will name the videos on every training because I think that most of them you can using it without the other dependency to most of the other videos. So after you watch the first 2 3 videos, you feel more comfortable and switching between them, you can just skip to the one that you really need. But I think that is really nice to following with me and learn something maybe new. So it's good to have that. Thank you for watching the first video, and yeah, we're gonna go more in depth on this tutorial in next video. See you in next video. Bye.